So I hope you've had a chance to look at the previous section because I showed a little video kind of highlighting the spiral rain bands that are near the Earth's surface, circulating around a central low pressure. We talked another important characteristic of a hurricane would be this ascending air. These are in our spiral rain bands, and then actually over the low, the central low, the eye of the hurricane, we actually have a central high. And so this, what we call outflow, then actually goes in a clockwise fashion, whereas the wind around the central low goes in a counterclockwise direction. So one of the things that we can do to understand the intensity of the hurricane is to look how low this pressure is. So the other thing, and actually they're both on this nice little table here, the other thing we can do, quite frankly, is to look how fast the winds are blowing around that central low, and they should be related. So what you're looking at here is kind of for one location, basically the eye passed over that one location, and it's a weather reading place. And so what we could see, or what they could gather, is that the pressure decreased and decreased and decreased as the storm system went over them. And at the eye, when the eye was over that measuring device, the pressure was as low as 964 millibars. Now I think a few slides ago we said that the minimum pressure in order for it to be low enough to be called a hurricane or a tropical cyclone is 980 millibars. So that's well low enough to be classified a hurricane. The other thing on here is actually wind speed. So you notice that the wind speed, it kind of goes down here for a little bit, then it goes up and up and up. The wind speed goes up and up and up until you get to actually the eye. And eerie as it sounds, within the eye, the wind basically drops, and that's what's being shown here. And then after the eye passes, you're back into, after the eye wall, you're back into spiral rain band again. And you got fast wind, but as you get near the edge, as you go this way of your hurricane, the wind is going to decrease. Okay, so yeah, this down here marks the spot of the eye passing over the measuring devices that was measuring atmospheric pressure and wind speed. So this is kind of a similar figure. Again, can you kind of see the counterclockwise movement around a central low over the oceans, basically, as these things develop over the ocean? And we see actually a satellite image, we would be seeing a clockwise flow around a high, a central high at upper elevation. So this is kind of showing you the same thing. Remember, since the previous chapter we talked about thunderstorm cells, and I know I mentioned that these spiral rain bands can have thunderstorms basically embedded in them. It's all kind of showing similar information. So outflow then is the movement of air up and out for the hurricane. And this just kind of talks about, actually I mentioned that if this is the eye right here, this is the eye of the hurricane, we have descending air because we have a central low and we have a central high. Okay, so we definitely have a kind of a switched vertical pressure gradient, don't we? So we have air descending, and one of the things we know about air as it descends is it will get smaller and smaller and smaller, a parcel of air, and work is done on it so that air will warm. If you've ever seen the movie The Day After Tomorrow, when the father-son are separated and they're trying to catch up with each other, and it's interesting when they both experience the eye of the storm. And it's calm, and they're like, oh, there's more to come. So another look. This is looking at the central low and the central high. And of course, this would be your outflow. And there you go. So Not on those diagrams necessarily was something called the eye wall. So if kind of a bird's eye view, we look, and this is our central low pressure, we kind of have our spiral rain bands, and of course we have an eye here. Now the eye wall is actually created by basically many thunderstorm cells kind of in a circle around the eye. That's the eye wall. And so within the eye it's calm, okay, but the eye wall itself can be very, very nasty. Now it's possible to get what we call a double eye wall, and that is actually an indication that your tropical cyclone, your hurricane is intensifying.